So the next step is to get the firmware that has been pre-prepared for us by the Things Industries, which is the owner of the Things Network. So that is going to be github.com. And as I say, I will. You've got the link below that allows you to go directly there, but I think it's always good practice to show that it's moving through the hierarchy. So if we find the Things Industries, which brings up an interesting selection of possibilities, go to Users, and we will go into the Things Industries, and we can then see that we have the generic node software edition. Now, the sort of not so much stable, but the firmware that I've been using for quite a while is based on this release, but there has obviously been a number of commits since then. And because the number of commits over a period of time have built up, I generally at the moment take a zip of the code, because if I take a git clone, I get all of the back history of the development of the code, which runs to a few hundred extra megabytes and is just a little bit more clutter for me to deal with. Also, at least I know exactly what point in time that I'm working to. So I'm going to download a zip rather than either use the rather older beta, and I'm not going to clone it because I've got enough clones already. The devices that I have recently deployed use a zip file, so I've found that to be very satisfactory. So I'm going to show that in folder, and as before, we are going to get rid of Chrome. I'm going to extract here, for which I now get a folder that has the whole sort of GitHub information in it. It's split rather clearly and obviously into the documentation with various different images and the all-important what do the pins do part, and sort of various pieces of information, including how some of this stuff is organized. Although I would warn you that when we say organized, you do need to be living with this stuff for it to become natural for you to know precisely where to go to alter something, because you are coding a sort of relatively complex sort of piece of software. Sorry, I should have just sort of gone back here, and there is a docsy file, so you can recreate all of the different documentation. In hardware, you have all that you would need if you wish to create your very own copy. Now I'm going to open this with Chrome because I am literally allergic to Edge. I opened it a couple of times and I came out in a nasty rash. So this gives us the schematic. You can see that Orkan is a very colourful individual, and this is one of the sort of posters that I have printed out, not in the house, but it is a very nicely laid out KiCad schematic, and it gives you a tremendous amount of detail about what it is that you're programming against. You can probably figure out the schematic for the hardware holder, and then we get all of the KiCad information that is required if you wanted to make your own PCBs. The lib is required for KiCad to enable it to know what the more interesting shapes that might be required, and various symbols. And fabrication gives you both the Gerbers, which are the files that a PCB manufacturer needs, and these are all the different layers that come with this. As you can see, it's a 4-layer board. It's got two internal layers that provide both power and ground layers itself. And also there's the bill of materials, so that you can go and play hunt the unobtainium with the Chipmageddon that we are currently experiencing. So it is described as an open source node, and as such it completely is, because you have everything you need here to create your own generic node at both hardware and software level. So in the software, we are straight into it. The software was originally set up for Visual Studio Code, and I will show you how that works in another video. But for now, what we need to do is actually just move this software over into our archive. So I'm going to get myself another file explorer so I can have a dig around in the disk to get to my Cube GNSE, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that over, mainly so that if I balk any of the files, I've got something to go at. Now you might want to change the folder, so I'm going to call it starter. It's got multiple projects inside, and this is where your head will start to hurt, as you are about to see when we ask it to do a variety of different things. I'm going to import these projects, so I'm going to get rid of the information center, and I'm going to click on import projects, and they are existing projects into the workspace, but it's already in the workspace. And this is quite important because Eclipse won't copy the right or all of the files over if you ask it to copy them over. Eclipse has been around since forever, and as such has a multitude of different ways of doing things. This is my way of doing things, and you've already been warned about any attempts to tell me I'm wrong. I'm always open to feedback, but if I'm not doing it the way you want to do it, that's do tell me a better way. Now it's listed all of the different projects that it's found in Starter, and that's what this search for nested projects does. However, the copy projects into Workspace, for whatever reason, doesn't cooperate as we would like. Now, rather than having it open every single project, I'm going to tell it to close the newly imported ones. And I'm not going to load up all of them because I don't really want them all in my face. The app template is so empty that you are writing code right from square one. Really what we're most interested in is basic LoRaWAN, basic, which will drive various elements. The freefall LoRaWAN, which will use the accelerometer to decide if it's in freefall. The secure element, because the generic node has a secure element on the PCB that enables it to have the keys already set up. However, it's a non-trivial provisioning to do one or two of these items, so it isn't a thing that you really want to get into until you are looking to deploy a pile of devices. And then the sensors, LoRaWAN or LoRaWAN, is an implementation that does read the sensors. So I recommend that you only install these. If you happen to know FreeRTOS, then feel free to open that up, and obviously you can look at the bootloader. But all of the basic ones, apart from basic LoRaWAN, do not do LoRaWAN. They only do the function that's there. Apart from FuARTA, which is a myth, because you need to have all sorts of infrastructure set up. And at this stage, mostly people don't have that set up. So you can explore, but if you try to deploy, you're going to have a lot of work on your hands. So let's have it import those. Then it's all good. Perhaps if we just correct the that folder at a later date. But the nuts and bolts, the bit that people are really interested in, is getting their device working. So I'm going to open up the basic LoRaWAN, and then just as a sanity test, I'm going to double click on main, so we can see the startup. And I will do a tour in the next video of what all the different bits of where all the files are and how to do things. But first of all, just as a sanity check, I'm going to build. I'm anticipating that I've missed something quite important, but I will travel hopeful. Now, Eclipse uses a auto-generated make file. So this is a sort of one-off operation, and many of these files, which we will explore shortly, are related to both the LoRaWAN stack and to reading the sensors. So don't worry, you don't have all of those to go at. So those are that's all working nicely, and it's nice to see we've got 0 errors and 0 warnings. For those of you who are pining for a version of this video for their own favorite OS, I'm not doing one because it's the same. And I've explained in my how to treat these videos that because they're the same, I reasonably expect someone to be able to sort of make that sideways translation. So we have downloaded the zip file, and we have got ourselves to a point where we can start having a look at the files that are within the different projects we have available.